very happy to introduce our latest series of videos. We filmed these in an IATF 16949 certified organisation, a Tier 1 supplier involved in the remanufacturing of used diesel particulate filters. With an ever-increasing focus on the environment and sustainability, remanufacturing in the automotive sector is continuing to increase. And for these remanufactured diesel particulate filters, it's essential that they are fully compliant with the stringent emissions legislation. The videos that you're going to see will show extracts of simulated IATF 16949 audits focused on the organisation's remanufacturing processes. So watch the videos and see if the auditor is undertaking the audits effectively. As always, we really welcome and value any feedback and comments, so please feel free to drop any comments under the videos.
Hello Sam, pleased to meet you. What's your role?
Sam Avis, Production Manager. I've been with Ceramex now for 10 years.
Right, okay. So obviously we're going to be auditing production.
Yep.
And one of the things I'd like to understand before we start is how you monitor the performance.
Yep.
So could you give me an overview of what are the key indicators that you have for production?
Yeah, so at the moment we run a tiered process of meetings. So we run a Tier 1 meeting, which happens at the start of every shift, where we talk to all of our operators with regards to what was happened for the previous period of time, up until obviously their time of work, but also what they're looking to do during their period of work when they arrive. We then operate a Tier 2 meeting, which is higher management. So that is where myself and other management across the business get involved and come to look at the actual performances during that period of the week.
Okay, and I think when we arrived this morning, we saw that meeting. Was that 8:30?
That's the 8:30 meeting.
Right,
yeah,
we saw that this morning. Okay, so Tier 1, Tier 2.
And then once a week, we have a Tier 3 meeting, and that is all higher management to basically discuss all of the previous week's numbers and KPIs.
Right. And the Tier 1, I think you operate shifts, don't you?
Yes.
Is that done for each shift?
Yes, so we do one at the start of the shift and also at the end of the shift, which is a reflection on exactly what has been achieved on that day and if they have met all of such targets.
Okay. Can we talk about within those tier structure then, the production efficiency?
Yeah, of course.
What would you measure at the Tier 1 level?
So we always start health and safety. We always then go into our quality side of things, and that is just in case there has been an event that's happened post them coming into work, where they would discuss that, and that is if they have any impact during that time. Okay. We then go into the production, which is what we see behind us.
And this would all be Tier 1?
This is all Tier 1, and this is what is then discussed with the operators, which is where that specific operator is going at any said period. So this discusses all of my processes that you've just seen on the shop floor versus the people that are then involved in those processes.
Okay,
We've then got a check here, which is our skills matrix. So this will tell me whether any person put into a certain area is actually trained off to do such process.
Okay.
So we use a value here, which is either 0, 1 or 2. And that tells me whether or not that person has a number 2, which is signed off fully in that area.
So they can work unsupervised at the 2
Unsupervised
level.
and by themselves, yes.
Okay, understand. And we'll look at that more later with HR.
Okay, and we then go on to really the most important one here, which is our run rate. The run rate here, which is designed in a SIOP, which happens once a week, is put together of numbers which we are then held accountable to on a weekly basis. So what we try to do is split it between our customers and between our 2 lines. So as you've walked around already, you've seen the high volume line and the low volume line. And like I said, we base that upon what we know and our timings that have been all worked out.
And these are numbers of units processed?
These are numbers of units, yes.
Okay.
So what we have here is, again, we'll use a top customer here. So we plan to do 120... 121, and we've actually only done 106.
Right, okay.
So we understand what the differences are there. If we have a difference, we then have an escalations board. The escalations board is then used to basically justify why we've missed or why we've overachieved. There is always a reason for both. So again, something on here at the moment that has been flagged has been our floor layout is in need of some attention because we've got excess of a certain part.
Okay. And that can cause delays then, can
Everywhere,
it, in the process?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll follow up on that a bit more in a minute. Do you measure OEE in
Yes.
production?
Yep, so as we move
which
further
tier
along,
would that come?
that comes at the tier 2.
Right, okay.
So-
So maybe could we have a look at the data on that?
Yeah, of course. That's not actually on these boards, but it's as part of the data which we capture in a tier 3 meeting that's held by the maintenance. They do discuss it at this point, though.
So we'll look at that a little bit later
Yes.
then, rather than looking at it here.
Yeah.
Sorry, interrupted. Keep going.
So
on
then
there.
we move into anything else that has had an effect. So we've got maintenance.
Yeah.
This will then determine any of my previous escalations, will tell me what machines have gone down and when they've gone down, and also for a period of time of what they've gone down. So here we had the filter press which was not discharging, so it wasn't getting rid of its raw effluent. We had that down for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That gave us a real impact on production because it meant that I had to stop washing all of my filters.
Right. Yeah. And
As
just
it-
on, sorry, while I remember, I think from a shot blast point of view, am I right in saying you've only got one shot blast machine?
One shot blast, yes.
Yeah. So what I'm going to be following up later then is your contingency plan for that.
course,
If that goes down, we don't need it now,
No.
but if you could make sure you've got that information
yep.
ready for me. Okay.
We then move into shipments. Of course, one of the most important parts about these boards, knowing what we are required to ship out to our customers at any one point. We have the logistics team manager attend the meeting, and he tells us exactly where we are, so what quantity he has packed,
Yeah.
what is still outstanding to make our shipment, and when that shipment is needed for a collection date at a certain time.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He then does that for all of our customers to ensure that we are absolutely on top of our customer OTIFs.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of that, I guess, is dependent on them providing you the raw product.
Of course, yeah. But as you've seen in our logistics area, we do hold a number of products for our customers as well.
Right, which is contingency again, I
Yes.
guess. Okay, so we'll follow that through a little bit later then. Anything else?
And then we just talk about trainings and the 5S audits that happen on a daily basis that are all planned during these meetings. So they happen in the tier 1s. So as we look here, we've got all of the operators' names that are held accountable to doing training.
Right.
Okay, so all of the people you see here are all held accountable as part of their job description to actually perform trainings on a daily basis.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
We then
Yeah.
also have a 5S area. So 5S has been a key objective of ours here at Ceramex to have it installed to take us to the next level, which is now being monitored, and we then sign all of these off against certain areas.
Yeah.
We then track that on a weekly basis where we report upwards, obviously, to higher management.
And we'll have a look at that when we go into each of the individual
of course.
areas there. Just one final question. If there is a customer issue, where does that get picked up in your tier
All
structure?
meetings. So it is
Right.
raised right from the tier 1 all the way up to tier 3,
Yeah.
and can also be raised outside of tiers as well. But
Yeah.
normally, it's escalated at tier 1. And if that customer reaction is, let's say, we've shipped out a bad part, that is then brought up with the operators at that point so that everybody site-wide is made aware about that has happened, and then also seen that we can improve on.
Yeah, and I saw that on your TV
On the
screen.
TVs, yes.
That you had this rotating information.
That's been
So-
really key to us as well, and it's helped us improve our communication around shop floor, but also upstairs to the office staff as well.
Yeah, great. So that's really useful then. So I'll use some of that information when we go into each of the manufacturing areas. But
Perfect.
no, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. In this video, the auditor is auditing the production performance with the organisation production manager. Reviewing performance and then following audit trails using the data collected is a key part of the competency, the automotive process approach, incorporating risk-based thinking. The production managers stated that they operate a tiered approach to performance monitoring in production, with 3 clearly defined levels. Tier 1 were the meetings that were held at shift level, focusing first on any safety concerns and then moving on to any quality concerns. It was good to see that rather than being wallpaper, the skill matrix was actually being used to make sure that competent people are allocated to processes at the start of a shift. Tier 2 is the next level, which is more about the daily management. And this includes the organisation management, and it includes a cross-functional team, where the team resolve any issues that have cropped up, in particular from any related support processes. And then finally, Tier 3 is a higher level weekly management meeting, more focused on the trends and any recurring issues. Customer issues were incorporated into all 3 tiers of meetings. It was also interesting to see that around the organisation, TV screens were used to communicate performance to all employees within the company, with a rolling screen updating any changes. In an audit, the auditor should follow up and question employees to verify the effectiveness of this communication. In some companies, the tiered approach to performance review is used to collect evidence to support compliance to the IATF requirements related to management review. By focusing on performance during audits, both internal and external, this gives the auditor the opportunity to prioritise audit trails based upon the data collected, including focusing on the escalation process when any targets are not met. During this audit, there was discussion about overall equipment efficiency. It's important to note that OEE is not a mandatory IATF 16949 requirement. It is mentioned as an example in the IATF requirement 8.5.1.5, total productive maintenance. Auditors should always be careful not to impose requirements that are included in the standard as examples or as such as is. Incorporating performance into any IATF 16949 audit is a key competency that any auditor needs to understand and apply. By reviewing performance, it gives the opportunity to collect data and then to follow prioritised audit trails based upon the risks identified. If performance reviews include participation by members of the organisation's top management, an organisation can use this evidence as part of their management review process.